you mentioned, the government may value public education, especially in smaller communities, but we don't see that on the ground because of the terrible state of many of the school buildings. Because in order to get the outcomes that are so great, that have been mentioned several times, what school districts have done is essentially pare away all of the costs that they can outside of the classroom, and that includes basic maintenance. And in Vancouver alone, we've got over $700 million of deferred maintenance, so we probably got over $1 billion throughout the province. And our children go to these buildings every day, and I know, for instance, at my son's school, there are several children who will not use the washrooms for the entire day. They will go home, and I hear another parent saying that, and it's a common story, because they're decrepit and disgusting. And so really, what are we telling our children when we send them to buildings that, leaving aside the seismic danger, we're just talking about buildings that are they look like the last time they were painted was in the 70s. The facilities don't work. If they have computers, it's only because the parents have paid for them to be there. The schools are leaning on parents for fundraising more and more every year. And what are we telling our children? That we don't value them enough to put them in a decent building with decent facilities and the supplies that they need every day. I think that belies any belief or care for public education. Otherwise, we would be showing our children that we value them and their education. Do you feel that these are valid concerns?
Absolutely they are. Deferred maintenance is, I think, an issue in education. I can tell you it's an issue in health with some hospital facilities as well. So yes, it is an issue. The capital side of funding is an important issue. Yeah, so if I was to cut to the chase, I would say this. People, as they choose the government they want to represent them, should think about these issues, about whether a tax cut is more valuable for the economy, more valuable for this or that, than doing the basic housekeeping and maintenance of schools, hospital, and other public facilities. Because, I think part of the challenge is maintenance is not sexy from a political perspective. You don't cut a ribbon to maintain a school or a hospital, but it's vitally important.
Yet they don't have a problem with, making an announcement that they're going to put a new roof on a school. It's routine maintenance. What's the importance of making that announcement when it's part of the routine maintenance of a building for which you're responsible? Yeah, well,
the government will announce and re-announce any number of times the latest set of shoes that's been polished, and that's what they may do. I think the critical thing, ideologically, I guess I would describe myself as a reformist liberal. I'm not a big fan of tax cuts. I'm not a big fan of getting rid of tolls when it means down the line that we're going to be losing revenue in one area and unable to deploy it in other social areas. People need to think about that as part of the political reality. As I'm looking at the period 2001 to 2005. So much of what occurred after 2001 was defined by the 25% tax cut that was brought in virtually before cabinet was even in place. It drove expenditure reductions, which continue to haunt us today. I hope at some point governments get beyond that, although it appears, Donald Trump's USA, we're about to do exactly that once again, and there's a certain amount of public support for that. Ideologically, I think it's entirely inappropriate. I think it's destructive, but nevertheless, we'll probably see over the course of the next four weeks a variety of things which, while they seem attractive and sexy from some perspectives, like I don't have to pay tolls on a bridge anymore, if the impact of that is on our schools, our hospitals, and so on, then it's not such an attractive proposition. So I hope that message gets to the politicians at some point. I'm just a has-been here. I'm done. I'm old. I only have death and dementia to look forward to in my life. Go and see the politicians and tell them that schools and maintenance and hospitals and maintenance are way more important than tax cuts. I think it's a good message for the campaign. Everyone should hear it.